This is DRF Race of the Day.
Hi everyone, the race of the day for Saturday is the Grade 2 Los Alamitos Futurity. It's race number 9 on Saturday at Los Alamitos, and this, once upon a time, was a fun, deep, competitive race won by the likes of Point Given, Best Pal, AP Indy, Snow Chief. But since moving to Los Alamitos in 2014, following the closure of Hollywood Park, the Futurity has lost a lot of its luster and essentially become a training race for one stable in particular. Let's take a look at the 7 Futurity winners since the race was moved to Los Alamitos in 2014. And as you can see, it has been a virtual chalk fest. The last 2 years, Spielberg and 1,000 Words, boy, you talk about a couple of overlays, 580 and 540. They were both the second betting favorite in the Futurity. But the 5 races before that, the 5 years before that, starting with Dortmund and all the way through Improbable, odds-on winners every single time. By the way, McKenzie won the 2017 Futurity via disqualification of his stablemate, Solimini. So 7 short price winners of the Futurity, and what do they all have in common? Well, all 7 of them are trained by Bob Baffert. Baffert is a 13-time winner of the Futurity. 7 times at Los Alamitos. He won the Futurity 6 times at Hollywood Park. And since the Futurity moved to Los Alamitos in 2014, Baffert has started 12 of the 38 Futurity starters. So Baffert has produced nearly 1/3 of the starters for the Futurity at Los Alamitos, and he's won the race all 7 times. Baffert's 12 Futurity starters, 7 wins, 2 seconds, 2/3. Average field size for the Futurity, 5.4 starters per year. So it's not really a great race for us. I'm talking about us, the bettors. It's just a tough race on which to find any value, unless you think there's a slam dunk, and maybe this year there is. The Futurity, by the way, was once upon a time, not that long ago actually, a Grade 1. It was downgraded to a Grade 2 in 2019. And let's go ahead and take a look at the field for this year's Los Alamitos Futurity. It's race number 9, and the heavy favorite is going to be Messier, trained, of course, by Bob Baffert. Baffert also starts number 4, Barossa. Barossa is going to be interesting because he's the first horse to run back out of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Doug O'Neill entered Durante and also Slow Down Andy. Durante will run. I'm not convinced that Slow Down Andy is going to start on Saturday, or whether O'Neill will wait until Sunday and run him against California Breds in the King Glorious. That decision is pending. And then finally, down on the inside, Olympic Legend. He's probably going to be the longest shot in the field, and yet he's the only horse to defeat Messier. He actually defeated Messier back in June, Olympic Legend. Olympic Legend coming back in off of a layoff as a first-time gelding. So let's talk about the favorite. He's pretty good. His name is Messier, and Baffert's not comparing him to Corniche quite yet, but he speaks about those two colts in the same sentence, which means that he holds Messier in very high regard. Corniche, of course, is the undefeated winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and neither Corniche nor Messier can run in the Kentucky Derby next year because Baffert is barred from Churchill Downs until the end of 2023 at least. But this race on Saturday, the Futurity, will determine whether or not Messier can stretch his talent around 2 turns, and there's really no reason to believe that he will not. He's a son of Empire Maker, and when we take a look at his most recent start, you'll see that he probably is not going to have any difficulty stretching out from 7 furlongs to 1 mile and 1/16. This is the Bob Hope Stakes down at Del Mar, and he won kind of convincingly. He won by more than 3 lengths, but interestingly, after the race, Flavian Pratt, who rode him in the Bob Hope and rides him again on Saturday, huddled up with Bob Baffert and said, you know what? We took the blinkers off for the Bob Hope, and yeah, he won by more than 3 lengths, but Pratt believes that Messier is a better horse wearing blinkers than without them. So Baffert is putting blinkers back on. You don't normally see an equipment change on a horse coming in off a romping win in a graded stakes race. But Pratt believes that Messier is better with blinkers. Baffert worked Messier with blinkers on Monday morning at Santa Anita prior to the unfortunate demise of Medina Spirit. And Messier just blew away an overmatched rival, a 3-year-old filly named Beautiful Gift. Anyway, Messier adds blinkers. He wore them in his most recent workout. He can sit off the pace, which should a style that should serve him well because the Futurity field has all kinds of speed in it. Olympic Legend is fast, Durante is fast, Barossa is fast, and Slow Down Andy, if he starts, also is fast. Messier can rally from behind. And one of the things that Baffert said that is going to make Messier a good horse, if he's not already, and he is his mind. He is a son of Empire Maker, and Empire Makers do not always follow all the rules. But Messier, who had never been to Del Mar, shipped to Del Mar the morning of the Bob Hope Stakes. He walked into the paddock like it was no big deal, and then he went out and took care of business. So Baffert thinks that this is a very good colt. He's not comparing him, not making him the equal to Corniche, but he speaks about Messier in the same, like I said, the same sentence. So Messier is good. He's going to be a short price. I think he will be very tough to beat. I suppose anything can happen in a horse race, especially in a small field of 5 or possibly even 4. And we at least must acknowledge Baffert's second starter, and that is Barossa. Barossa completely misfired last time out. It was in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and he is not a horse that's going to get down buried in traffic and blast home. He's still a little green, Barossa is, even though he started 4 times, and he needs to be in the clear, and he was not in the clear in the Breeders' Cup. He was inside and behind horses. Corniche was out there on the front end. He did not have a bad trip. Barossa did not have a bad trip, but for him, it was not a good trip. And on the far turn, he said, I'm done with this. I'm done taking dirt, and he just backed out of it. But he came back to train very well, Barossa did. And I would suspect that jockey Juan Hernandez is going to ask Barossa for speed because that's his style, and that's the style that he employed 2 starts back, winning a highly rated maiden race on October 15th at Santa Anita. Let's take a look at Barossa and Durante coming down to the wire together. This was a good horse race. That's Barossa on the outside, Durante on the inside. And this was a good race between 2, at the time, 2 very good maidens. Barossa was able to win the race by a half length. He earned an 87 Beyer speed figure. Durante ran his heart out down on the inside, but Barossa got the best of them. That 87 Beyer speed figure earned by Barossa is the highest figure in the Futurity field. And he did it around 2 turns. He did it at Santa Anita, but he did it around 2 turns. He ran fast. He will stay the trip. Messier, we don't know for sure that he will, but Barossa certainly can. And as I mentioned earlier, he came back and misfired in the Breeders' Cup without an advantageous trip. Okay, what do you do with Durante? Durante ran super in that maiden race. I don't think he ran as well in his next start, and yet he won the race. Let's take a look at the most recent start by Durante. He was odds on in a maiden race at Del Mar, and Durante took the lead. They went relatively fast early. He opened up, and then he got a little green. He drifts in. It looks like he's going to hit the rail. Watch Durante almost take a left-hand turn in deep stretch. I'm not sure if he jumped some shadows or what, right there. Anyway, he held on and won by less than a length. He earned a 74 Beyer speed figure. It was kind of a weird race because the front runners ran 1, 2, 3 all the way around. And yeah, it's true that Union Train did narrow the gap late, but it was really kind of never in doubt. Now, the thing about Durante is he wants to get up and go. And so does Barossa. Olympic Legend and Slow Down Andy both have speed. So I would suspect that Durante is going to have some company up on the front end, unless Umberto Rispoli can get him to rate behind the speed. Last weekend in a training track workout at Santa Anita, Durante broke off about 5 lengths behind Slow Down Andy. He rallied through the turn of the training track. He got almost on even terms with Slow Down Andy, who was really being asked for his life in the workout. And Durante never did really get past Slow Down Andy, but it was a solid work anyway by Durante. And we're going to find out if he can handle the jump from maiden special weight into graded company on Saturday. The truth of the matter is, I will be surprised if Messier gets beat, and if he does, it'll probably be by his stablemate Barossa. It's the Bob Baffert Los Alamitos Futurity. It's race number 9 on Saturday at Los Alamitos, and I expect the favorite Messier to deliver as the short price favorite.